Shall we analyse an Unai Emery tactical masterclass? Up the Villa. Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our tactical debrief for Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. On today's episode, we are going to go in depth into this Unai Emery tactical masterclass over Arsenal. And to be honest, a lot of things that you're going to see are absolutely going to blow your mind on this performance. So on the episode, we've got heat maps, average positions, passing networks, data. We've got tactical pad, and we've also got the major image of note during this performance. So I need your help. I need you guys at home to like this episode. Let's go for 1,000 likes. Hype the episode up. Comment your thoughts. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel because everything that I'm going to show you is just very, very impressive. And this episode is powered by XG Stat. You can receive your first month half price using the code UTV50. The link will be in the description of this episode. So enjoy the show. Let's get stuck into it then. So much to go through. The eye test has told me one thing, but looking at the data, it's told me something else. I came home, I did fan cams, I knew how good we were, but I didn't know how dominant we were. I did not know how dominant this performance was, not just by the data, but by positioning, by individual battles, comparing it to some of the Arsenal data. So we're going to go straight in there. XG Stat. Let's go and take a look at the average positions for Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. Now, here we've got the average positions for Aston Villa on the left-hand side. We've got Arsenal on the right-hand side. But one thing that is standing out to me when I saw this, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, 8 players inside the Arsenal half for the average positions of the whole game. That doesn't show me a team that was afraid. It doesn't show me a team that was scared. It showed me a team that believed. They believed that they could go toe-to-toe with this Arsenal team. Yes, you have to show respect to them because they are a very good team, but we stuck our chest out and we absolutely took the game to them. You know, you can see that we left 2 at the back. We've got both fullbacks that were high and wide. We've got a central 2 with Yuri Tielemans dropping in there. Absolutely fantastic stuff for Aston Villa. If we show the network now, what you can see is that we got a nice horseshoe shape where we're utilising the width on the left and the right-hand side. But we've also got that double 2 in the middle in Onana and Kamara, which was just absolutely incredible and just worked so well. And I just kind of want to go back and show you on the tactical pad something that we really spoke about before the game in the match preview of what we needed to see from the Aston Villa team. And I think what we can see is that we really utilised Yuri Tielemans, and this is a brilliant tactic that Villa deploy when needed in big games, and it really gives us control of the game. It really allows us to be super solid, super structured, super good on the ball, but the ability to disrupt is something that was really important. You cannot just go in and match them with a 2 because Zubimendi and Declan, they're absolutely incredible players. And if you give them space and time on the ball, what are they going to do? They're going to spray it to Saka, spray it to Eze. They're going to play progressive passes to Odegaard roaming, to play it into Mikel Merino or Gyökeres. So what do Aston Villa need to do? We need to create some form of overload in there. And that is exactly what we did. We got in and around Zubimendi, in and around Declan Rice with our 3. But it wasn't just a 3, was it? Because we know what we can do with John McGinn. We can push him in there, can't we? So we get complete overload. Rodgers can go quite narrow. And we were just brilliant in central midfield. We dominated that. And I'll be honest with you, At halftime, I was looking at their bench and I was thinking, okay, they've got Gyökeres, they've got Trossard, they've got Martinelli. But I just felt like if we'd still dominate the middle of the pitch and we stop them two from playing, and okay, you can add Odegaard in there as well, you'll have a better foothold. You know, if you dominate the middle against Arsenal, you pose them massive, massive problems, and then you start being able to run through them. And it was just brilliant stuff from Aston Villa, and Unai Emery got this spot on. And to be honest, a lot of you know that I'm big on tactics. I'm big on Emery. I understand what Emery wants. I predicted that three being in there, and it was just sensational from Villa. The passing network is just very good. And then we look at some of these passes as well, what we've got going on, and you can start to see the numbers. Konsa, top passing range, 44 for Villa, received 36, progressive 1. And then you start looking at some of Villa's most progressive players on the ball. Morgan Rogers, 7. We've got Martinez, 15, which is very good. And we'll start to see some of his actions going longer. Tielemans, 4. Torres, 6. So really good stuff from Villa. We've got John McGinn with 5. Cash with 4. And I just felt like Rogers was in the game. He was there. He was present. He was creative, he's dribbling, he was very techy, he was very good with his numbers. Arsenal's biggest passer was Odegaard. You've got Declan Rice, Zubimendi in there as well. So, and here I think highlights something that Aston Villa did really well. And I've already mentioned that I've spoke about how Martinez had a big game with his progressive passes. We can already see that he's in there with 15 progressive passes. And then when we start to look at Villa's build-up phase and we show the network, you can start to see Martinez going into Rogers there, going into Watkins. Just his vision and his range was very good. And it gives Aston Villa different dimensions. It allows us to play out from the back. It allows us to do that. But we've also got the option where we can go longer. We can spray into different areas. We can use Rodgers. We can use Maatsen. We can use McGinn if we need to. And we were just brilliant in that area. And different elements to Villa. We've got Aston Villa's progressive phase. So you can see here that three of Boubacar Kamara. We've got Onana. We've got Yuri, giving us that bedrock and that foundation to be able to control the game. And that's something that not many teams can do against this Arsenal side. Who can control the game against Arsenal? Not many teams, but Villa did. Villa did. And then here we've got our networks where we're getting into that final third, and Ian Maatsen was just so good, such a threat. And me and Earl called it in the week. When we were speaking about the game early on, doing the match preview, etc., we were saying that, is this a game that we can sort of utilize Maatsen? I think it was for the Wolves one or one of the games? And we were saying that, will he go for Maatsen or will he go for, might have been Young Boys actually. And we were trying to, I can't remember which one it was, but we were saying that what an opportunity if he was to put Maatsen in, it would give him that confidence. And can he relish this opportunity that he gets given? And he absolutely did. Going forward, silky on the ball, defensively looks a different player now, a completely different player. Here we've got Arsenal's network, so I'll show you some of Arsenal's, everything really going into Odegaard. You can see it's going into Odegaard in the progressive phase and in that final third. But I felt like we kept them at bay for quite a lot. I don't really feel like we were camped in our own box and having to do a lot of defending. So here we can see now, I mean, this data that we've got, and you guys can get this at your fingertips, but this is brilliant. So we can see the passes of who went to who. So we've got Cash to Konsa, 13. We've got Konsa to Torres, 10. Konsa to Martinez, 9, etc. So those are the numbers for Aston Villa. So very, very good from Aston Villa. Now, if we take a look at the passes, and we can start to see some of the key passes and the main numbers. And, look at these numbers now for Aston Villa. Ezri Konsa, 98% passing accuracy. Boubacar Kamara, 98% passing accuracy. Onana, 96% passing accuracy. So these are players that Aston Villa utilised to control a game. Kamara and Onana, 98 and 96% pass accuracy against Arsenal. Arsenal, this is absolutely scintillating numbers from Aston Villa. We've got Maatsen on 74. If we move Kamara, we've got Rodgers on 71, Cash on 85, who just looks calm, composed, brilliant. Bogard, when he had to come on, 88%. And then here I want to show something very underrated. And I keep mentioning it and I'll keep banging on about Sancho's ball retention, coming on, relieving pressure, and keeping hold of the ball for Aston Villa. 88% for Sancho, McGinn 71. We've got Tielemans 84. Tielemans in a role where, yes, he's dropping deep, but he's also having to be a bit progressive when he's pressing with Ollie Watkins from the front as well. So I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And then we can see some of Arsenal's numbers. Rice, 91%, Timber, 90%, Odegaard, 90%. So that they had some good passing ranges. Raya, 100%. So Villa's passing, very, very good. Now, I want to run through some heat maps now. We've got to go through the Villa heat maps. We've got to take a look at some of the players of the areas that they were getting into. And again, this will now start to show the progressive nature and the structure of how we controlled large parts of this game. So we'll run through most of them. So we've got Ian Maatsen, and you can see that, you'd expect him to be very green in the defensive third, but it's the attacking third. It's the attacking third getting forward, inverting, and helping out in those sort of like little central spaces. Incredible stuff from Maatsen. We've got Boubacar Kamara, central, but again, inside the opposition half. He's absolutely class. Torres, again, you can see him inside the opposition half, occupying those spaces when Aston Villa are in build-up, when he's got his foot on the ball. Konsa, too good. Too good. Everyone's sleeping on him still. We've got Yuri Tielemans, opposition half. Matty Cash now on that overlap over John McGinn. Top quality game from Cash. I think Cash could have been man of the match for me because he was brilliant. We've got Martinez. Watkins, also quite central, but running that channel at the same time. Let's get rid of some of those as well. Onana, solid in the middle. He only had that little error, but he was very, very solid. Let's go with McGinn. You can kind of see that McGinn drifting from that right inside that central space, and it really just suits and mirrors up with the eye test of what we've seen for Aston Villa. So really good stuff for Villa. And then you've got some defensive actions. Now, this is what you need to take a look at. Some of these defensive actions for the opposition team. So let's have a look at who had to do the most defending, right? So let's have a look at this then. So here we've got Villa counter pressing recoveries were very central, 12% and 12% on that Boubacar Kamara side. Here we've got here now. Look at how many recoveries that Arsenal are having to do. Ben White, 8. Hincapié, 6. Timber, 5. Rice, 4. Zubamendi, 4. We've got Kamara on 6. Torres, 5. Konsa, 4. And then here we've got some own half losses. You can see that Villas were out wide and kind of just inside our own half. And then again, own half losses. Rice 2, Calafiori 2, Hincapié 2, Trossard 1, Odegaard 1. And it was only Torres 3, Maatsen 2, McGinn and Rodgers with 1 each. And then here we can see defensive actions from both sides as well. And again, this is brilliant to see. Total defensive actions, Matty Cash 9. We've got clearances, blocks and interceptions 7. So this is why I'm talking about Cash being man of the match, because he was all these actions are brilliant. Tielemans, we've got him with 8 defensive actions, Maatsen with 8, Kamara with 6, Konsa with 6. And then you look at this, defensive actions for Arsenal. Timber, 11. Hincapié, 10. Rice, 8. White, 8. Zubamendi, 7. Calafiori, 7. Saka, 5. Trossard, 4. So look at all these defensive actions that Arsenal were doing, which was a lot higher than what Aston Villa's were. So that will tell you who had to do the majority of the defending. And then when we look at the overriding stats from the game, Aston Villa's XG 2.55 to Arsenal's 1.50. We've got shots 14-13. But I just really want to highlight another area that I saw from this game that was just crazy to see. And it's actually like the duels, how even it was. And you would kind of expect Aston Villa to be having to be far superior and winning more to be able to compete. But when you compare them, counter pressing 34 Villa, 37 Arsenal, duels 129 Villa, 129 Arsenal. You can see 96 duels won, 100 for Arsenal. Aerials 26, 26, 16 aerials won, 20 aerials for Arsenal. Tackles 8, Arsenal 7, interceptions 31. Arsenal had to make more interceptions at 45. Ball recoveries, Arsenal had to make more ball recoveries. Arsenal had to make more clearances in 8. Fouls conceded, Villa with 10. So all of these numbers here highlighting the amount of defensive work that Arsenal had to do against Aston Villa. Passes, 376 for Villa, 452 for Arsenal, 85% accuracy for Arsenal, 84 for Villa. Progressive passes, Villa made more. Progressive carries, Arsenal made more with 29 to Villa's 13. So some really top stuff, and XG stat always delivering just unbelievable insight into a game. Makes it so easy to be able to analyze, and you guys can do and have a look at this and just improve what you're watching from the sidelines when you go home and analysing a game and having a look at all this at your fingertips, because it's absolutely unbelievable. So UTV50 is the code. I'll put the link in the description. Class from Aston Villa. Oh, absolutely unbelievable. Right. Now we're going to do some fun stuff, and we are going to have a look at the major images of note during this game and some of the high talking points that we can see from the game. So here what we can see is something that I really want to pick up on and highlight. A sip of coffee before we get going. Right, and this is important because this is very early on, and I've spoke about this before, about when you're having a look at our teams performing, just have a little look at where players are positioned, who's where, what's the shape of both teams trying to do. But Villa already, we can see central midfielder, Zubimendi, Rice and Odegaard. And what have we got from a Villa standpoint? We have got Aston Villa with our little triangle. This little triangle is elite, absolutely elite. And I'll tell you one thing, when we bring this triangle out, it means business. And the other thing about a triangle, it's actually got more points than Wolves right now. So up the triangles. Right, absolutely brilliant. So that was important because, again, it highlights what we really needed to see. We needed to see that triangle working. And it does, because what you can see is we win the ball. John McGinn's inverted. So we've already spoke about, when I showed you the tactical pad at the start, about overloading them centrally. Well, here's your overload. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 of us in there that are winning that ball. And then Ollie Watkins is on his bike, should score. Does all the hard work. He's 1v1. He should score. Big, big chance for Aston Villa. But I was calm. I thought more chances would come, and they did. They did come. And my next point is that this was the Eze offside. But again, all these fine details within this Aston Villa team are vitally important. And one thing that I look at, and I know whether Villa are good or not, and I know whether we are a good team or not, is when I can do this. When I can draw that straight line, because that is prime time Villa. You know the triangle? When you can see that line straight, we know we mean business as well. And again, we play him offside. And I really celebrate offsides with this Villa team because I know that we are defensively absolutely spot on and fantastic stuff. Now, this is something that will get overlooked, and it's Aston Villa's control and domination. Now, we've seen the average positions, we've seen the passing network, we know we've had 8 players in the opposition half, and this is the 8 players and the Villa structure. When you're looking at and watching teams play against certain teams, and when, for example, Villa play most teams and we've got our structure, we are possession-based team. How have we got that control? Well, this is control right here. When your left-sided centre-back is so far advanced, it is unbelievable. You know, he's further forward than our central midfielder in Amadou Onana. And we've got cover here. We can see that Kamara's backtracking a little bit because he knows he needs to sort his positioning out. And I think this is really important. And Ryan mentioned this on the fan cam, is that when Villa trap the ball, we trap, we control, we wait. We don't rush. And slow possession-based football and is all about control. And this is what Aston Villa are doing, picking the right moment, not rushing, not just passing it straight out to Maatsen. We utilise this really well, and Pau knows when to trap it, when to control it. Again, we go back to Onana. Pau still stays in position. We're nice and controlled. We're biding our time. We're waiting for the correct moment to get the ball in the box. We create the opening, and then the ball goes in. The ball goes in. There's a flick on from an Arsenal player, and who's at the back post? Eze is sleepwalking. Matty Cash. What a finish. Guys, what a finish. I mean, he's absolutely smacked it. It's a volley. It's not an easy finish to control this and bring it down. Matty Cash, I've got to tell you guys, and you'll know this, I've never really hated Matty Cash. I've never really ever gone in on Matty Cash because I've always believed that when he used to pass it back and etc., it was Emery that wanted him to do that. But he's Villa's player of the season so far. The way in which he's scoring goals, and dare I say it, one of the best right backs in the Premier League right now. Keep it going. Keep the momentum. Keep the form. Keep the confidence. Because if he plays like this all season, we are getting very, very good things this season because he's absolutely quality. Another goal, another finish, and more points for my FPL team. Brilliant. Right. But, I mean, guys, the ball started there and it's ended up in there. But remember where you see how controlled we were and camped in and structured, biding our time. Absolutely perfect stuff from Aston Villa. Perfect stuff. Now, a little niggle and something that Cash needed to be aware of, I think, and he had a bit of a tough time. And I don't know whether it was McGinn that maybe needed to help out a little bit more, but we had a warning sign from Trossard early on in the second half when he flashed that volley. But again, he's in between Cash and McGinn. They need to talk a bit more. They need to sort that out a little bit because the goal then does come from Onana. I can't give him too much stick here because he's just tried to progress Villa, and I think he's lost his footing. He's been a bit out muscled by Rice, but I can't really put too much blame on him, to be honest. But then we can kind of see here that Cash does have a little look over his shoulder. You know, he is looking at what's going on here. You know, John McGinn's sort of nowhere to be seen. We're struggling to get back. And I think at that back post, Martinez makes a great save. But as you can see, we've got Trossard at that back post now. I think Cash is trying to work with this player, and I think he is just stuck, and I think he probably does need help from another player. We are a little bit all out of sorts here. And I just think for this moment, we really did just lose our way, and we lost our structure and defensive nous, to be honest. But I think a big thing that I've got to mention before I move any further is the fact that when we came out in the second half, they had that spell of being quite dominant, and we didn't get going. We couldn't get the ball. But I've got to say that the fact that once that goal went in and we got back on track with ease, we didn't let them have sustained spells. We didn't let them get on top of us. we got back on top of them. And that's a testament to this Villa team of how we can perform at Villa Park and how we perform with this performance, that we thought, okay, no problem. We'll carry on again. And we did. And that was probably one of the biggest takeaways from the game, to be honest, that they didn't get on top of us. And I think that's a really big thing. And what were their real chances after that, really? This wonderful save again from Emi Martinez. Brilliant stuff. And then we had this one ball that went fed through to Marlon, and I thought this was a goal, to be honest. I thought this is prime Marlon, and, it goes wide. And then we get into this. Not lazy, Villa. Nothing is lazy. Everything we did against Arsenal had purpose. Every pass had a purpose. Every 5-yard pass had purpose, whether it was to stretch or to control. And this pass here into Daniel Marlon, stretching as the game went on, dying embers of the game. But again, we waited. We passed it to Rodgers, who put in an unbelievable cross for Sancho. And Sancho deserves massive credit because he headed it back across goal. He headed it to Tielemans. Then Raya makes that wonderful save. He saves it. And then there's this. Buendia picks it up. He's the one that's hungry for it, not an Arsenal player. Buendia's hungry for it. We get a shot off. It gets blocked. Again, Boubacar Kamara on the floor. He's hungry for it. He keeps this ball alive. Buendia's on the floor. He's hungry. He gets back up off his feet and he fires it into the top corner. The limbs were unbelievable. What a noise. I actually believe that that's the loudest noise I think I've ever heard in Villa Park. The loudest noise. Why? Because this fan base know how important that goal was, how important that victory was. Arsenal are a very good team with very good players, but Villa are also a very good team with very good players. And I spoke about before the game about Aston Villa being able to match them, us being able to win. That's not me being deluded. That is me knowing what this team is capable of. And they perfected their game plan to perfection. It was absolutely unreal. And I'm so proud of this team. I just love them to bits. And this manager, he's so good. He's so good. And he loves the Villa. He loves the Villa, doesn't he? So what a performance. We should enjoy it. We should enjoy where we are. We shouldn't be afraid of where we are. We should back this team. And maybe now people will start waking up to Aston Villa of how good we are. And we've got to keep going. We've got to keep growing. We've got to keep believing. We've got to keep performing. The subs were brilliant. Emery with his subs, Bogard coming in central midfield. Power went off. Lindelof came on. Cash went off. Bogard went to right back. Buendia went more central, progressively attacking the game to win the game at the end. And yeah, I've got to give credit to Villa fans because I thought we were all magnificent. I thought the noise was so good and we deserve this because I think the thing is we believe in this team. We don't just support it, we believe in it. And I think that's also something that's really important. And I think Emery knows this as well. And yeah, just what a performance. Absolutely brilliant. And I just love us. And hopefully you've enjoyed this episode because there's so much detail. We're just class. Like, we're just very, very good. And I want to say thanks to everyone that's been enjoying the content, getting behind it, hitting the like button, subscribing, comment your thoughts, do everything because I need you guys to help me. I need you guys to be on this with me. And if you do watch and you don't like it, the video, not you don't like it, you don't like the video, and you watch it and you don't comment and you're not subscribed, but you do watch it, you guys can make a massive difference to this channel. So play your part to help me out as well. And you always do. But I think sometimes, I've got to ask you to do it because sometimes it might not get done. So yeah, if you can just help me out at all times, and we've got to just keep going. We've got a Europa League game in the week. Just keep the feel good factor, keep believing in the team, keep posting things about Villa, keep backing Villa, keep talking loud about Villa. Go out, wear your Villa stuff, wear it with pride, and yeah, special things are happening this season. So cheers everyone for watching. You're all legends. Up the Villa.